Did you know that the number one reason older men lose their intimacy, energy, and confidence doesn't begin in the bedroom? It begins deep inside a swollen, irritated gland that most men never see and almost never talk about. I'm talking about your prostate. And what I'm about to share may surprise you, because there's one category of natural foods that has been quietly healing men's prostates for centuries. Yet most doctors never mention them. Even more striking, one of these fruits, when eaten correctly, can begin to reduce inflammation and restore comfort in as little as 18 hours. I'm Dr. William Lee, a physician and scientist with over 3 decades of research into how food activates the body's own healing systems. My work has taken me from the laboratory to the clinic, from peer-reviewed journals to conversations with thousands of men who wanted to reclaim their health without depending entirely on pharmaceuticals. I've worked alongside men from every background, and I've seen firsthand how the right foods can change everything. No unnecessary pills, no invasive procedures, just nature, understood precisely and used wisely. Now, you may think you've heard it all, but what if the solution to your nighttime urination, weak flow, or intimacy struggles wasn't another supplement, but something already sitting in your kitchen? What if 5 specific fruits held the key to reducing prostate swelling, improving blood flow, and helping you feel like yourself again? In this video, I'll walk you through 5 fruits, each backed by rigorous science, that can reduce swelling, restore function, and support real male vitality after 60. And stay until you hear which fruit ranks number 1, because chances are you've eaten it your whole life without knowing what it can actually do at the cellular level. Before we continue, if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so now and tap the notification bell so you never miss another science-backed tip designed specifically for men like you. If this video speaks to what you've been experiencing, type yes in the comments. If it doesn't, type no so I can keep refining the content and bringing you what truly matters. Let's begin with the very first fruit, a small green powerhouse that is often overlooked yet remarkably effective at calming the deep inflammation that drives prostate discomfort. It's not exotic, and it's not hard to find. In fact, you may already have it in your kitchen right now. 1. Kiwi, the anti-inflammatory vitamin powerhouse for your prostate. In my research and clinical work with older men struggling with prostate-related symptoms, I kept identifying a consistent pattern. The most common complaints, frequent urination at night, that persistent pressure in the lower abdomen, difficulty initiating or completing the urinary stream were not always driven by dramatic pathology. In many cases, they were being quietly amplified by one underlying factor, chronic low-grade inflammation. That silent, persistent biological burn inside the prostate that accumulates with age, lifestyle, and oxidative stress over time. And what I found most scientifically compelling was that some of the most effective tools to address that inflammation weren't locked behind prescription pads. They were hiding in plain sight in the produce section. Take kiwi, for example. Most men I speak with think of it as simply a tart little fruit you slice into occasionally. Perhaps part of a fruit salad, perhaps forgotten at the back of the refrigerator. But kiwi is far more than a pleasant snack. It is what I describe as a vitamin delivery system. One of the richest natural sources of vitamin C available, kiwi provides an antioxidant impact that reaches directly into your bloodstream, your tissues, and your prostate. Vitamin C does something remarkable at the cellular level. It regulates inflammation by neutralizing the oxidative stress that irritates the prostate gland and contributes to its enlargement over time. That swelling is precisely what presses against the urethra and bladder, creating the sensation that you constantly need to go, even when your bladder is not full. I have observed men in their 70s incorporate 2 kiwis daily into their routine and return weeks later reporting measurable improvements. They sleep through the night. They urinate less frequently. They describe a sense of physical ease they hadn't felt in years. One gentleman told me it was the first time in a long time that he didn't feel as though his day was being organized around bathroom proximity. But kiwi's contribution doesn't stop with vitamin C. It is dense with dietary fiber, which supports gut health and digestive efficiency. These are not separate from prostate health. They are interconnected. When the gut microbiome is functioning well, hormonal metabolism improves, systemic inflammation decreases, and the burden on the prostate begins to lift. The body becomes more efficient at processing and eliminating the compounds that, when left unchecked, drive chronic inflammation. Kiwi is also gentle on the digestive system. It works in biological harmony with the body without harsh responses or side effects. You can eat it on its own, blend it into a smoothie, or add it to breakfast. What matters most is consistency. Sustainable healing is not built on dramatic gestures. It is built on quiet daily decisions that accumulate over time. And while kiwi is quietly powerful, the next fruit may well steal the spotlight. Because even though it is small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, it contains a class of antioxidant compounds that researchers are increasingly recognizing as one of nature's most important protective agents for male vitality. Let's take a closer look. 2. Blueberries, the antioxidant defenders that protect your cellular health. In my years of research into food and disease, I have returned repeatedly to one principle. The health of every organ in your body depends on the health of your cells. And the greatest threat to cellular health as we age is oxidative stress. The relentless accumulation of free radical damage that inflames tissue accelerates aging and drives the kind of prostate enlargement that robs men of their comfort, their sleep, and their confidence. Blueberries are among the most powerful tools nature has provided to address this process directly. I describe them as cellular defenders, and they have become one of my most consistent dietary recommendations for men who want to restore not just function, but genuine vitality. Small in size, but extraordinarily dense in biological activity, blueberries are loaded with a class of compounds called anthocyanins. These are pigment molecules that function as potent antioxidants, working directly against the oxidative damage that inflames and ages your prostate from the inside out. Every time you consume a meaningful portion of blueberries, you are actively helping to shield your prostate cells from damage and slowing the invisible cellular deterioration that accumulates with age, poor circulation, and chronic inflammation. I have worked with men who began incorporating a daily serving of blueberries into their morning meal and noticed results that surprised them. Not dramatic overnight reversions, but meaningful, progressive changes. Less disruption during the night. Clearer thinking throughout the day. A renewed sense of physical presence and engagement with their lives. One man told me he hadn't expected a dietary shift to make him feel more like himself again. That's a statement I hear more than people might imagine, and it reflects something important. These nutrients are not isolated to the prostate. They support the brain, the blood vessels, and hormonal balance throughout the entire body. Better circulation, driven in part by the vascular protective effects of anthocyanins, means more oxygen and more nutrients reaching every region of your lower body. That has measurable implications, both for urinary function and for sexual performance. Improved blood flow to the pelvic region supports stronger erections, greater sensitivity, and restored confidence. There is also a psychological dimension to this kind of dietary change that deserves acknowledgement. When a man chooses to feed his body with precision and care, he is sending a clear biological and psychological signal. I have not accepted decline as inevitable. I am still investing in myself. That mindset activates something in men that is just as important as any nutrient. The belief that change is still possible. Blueberries are practical. They are widely available, delicious, and easy to incorporate. Stir them into oatmeal, combine them with yogurt, or eat them directly. What creates results is not the gesture, but the habit. Make them a consistent part of your daily intake, and over time they will contribute to a rebuilding process that you can actually feel. But if blueberries are the steady defenders, the next fruit is something closer to a deep cellular restorer. Ancient in its history, striking in its appearance, and increasingly validated by modern science for its role in supporting male hormonal health and prostate repair at the tissue level. Let me show you what makes this crimson fruit so uniquely powerful. 3. Pomegranate, the ancient fruit that repairs prostate tissue. There is something about the pomegranate that I find scientifically fitting for this conversation. From the outside, it is dense and resilient. Break it open and you find hundreds of individual seeds, each containing a precise concentration of bioactive compounds. It is in many ways a reflection of the kind of targeted, layered biological action it performs inside the human body. Pomegranate is not a new discovery. It has been used across cultures for centuries as a restorative food for male vitality and longevity. What has changed is that modern biochemistry now allows us to understand precisely why it works. The key compounds are ellagic acid and a broad class of polyphenols that act directly on prostate tissue. These molecules do not simply circulate in the bloodstream. They target oxidative damage, reduce inflammatory signaling, and have been shown in research to influence the hormonal environment that governs prostate cell behavior over time. I have recommended pomegranate juice to men who came to me frustrated by persistent prostate swelling, low testosterone, and the cognitive fog that often accompanies chronic inflammation. Their experience with pharmaceutical approaches had frequently left them feeling flat, disconnected, or burdened by side effects. Pomegranate offered something different, biological support that worked with the body rather than overriding its systems. The results I have observed are consistent with what the research suggests. Reduced pressure on the bladder, fewer nighttime interruptions, a gradual return of energy, desire, and a sense of masculine confidence that men had begun to assume was simply gone. One patient described it not as feeling physically better in a specific location, but as feeling like himself again across multiple dimensions simultaneously. That is the hallmark of a systemic anti-inflammatory effect. Beyond the prostate, pomegranate supports cardiovascular health, immune function, and hormonal regulation. 3 pillars that are deeply interconnected with sexual health and overall male vitality. When these systems are functioning well together, the cumulative effect on how a man feels day to day is substantial. For practical consumption, pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice is the most convenient and effective delivery method. The seeds themselves can be incorporated into meals, but for men looking for consistency and ease, a half glass of quality juice each morning is a reliable approach. The key, as with all of these foods, is regularity. The body responds to consistent nutritional input, not occasional gestures. Pomegranate brings both biochemical precision and a kind of restorative quality that reaches deeper than any single nutrient can account for. It helps men feel stable and grounded in their physiology again. But as impressive as it is, the next fruit on this list offers something that surprises most men. It is cooling, hydrating, and inside every bite lies a compound that quietly protects your prostate and improves circulation in a way that few foods can match. Let's examine what this familiar summer staple can actually do. 4. Watermelon, nature's delivery system for prostate protective lycopene. Watermelon tends to be associated with summer, with refreshment, with the simple pleasure of eating something sweet and hydrating on a warm afternoon. What it is rarely associated with is therapeutic nutrition. But in my work studying how foods interact with human biology, watermelon has earned serious scientific respect as a prostate supportive food. And the compound responsible for that is lycopene. Lycopene is a carotenoid antioxidant with a documented affinity for prostate tissue. Research has consistently shown that it accumulates preferentially in the prostate gland, where it reduces oxidative damage and helps regulate the inflammatory processes that drive swelling and cellular stress over time. Watermelon delivers lycopene in a highly bioavailable form, meaning the body absorbs and utilizes it efficiently. Combined with the fruit's exceptional water content, it also provides the kind of deep cellular hydration that supports kidney function, urinary tract health, and the flushing of inflammatory metabolites that contribute to chronic prostate irritation. I have had men make a simple, consistent habit of eating a generous portion of watermelon in the afternoon and return reporting measurable changes: less abdominal pressure, smoother urinary flow, a reduction in the stop-start sensation that many men find so frustrating and demoralizing. One man in his late 60s described feeling lighter in a way that wasn't only physical. He said he felt less preoccupied, less distracted by discomfort, more present. That quality of presence is something men who have lived with chronic prostate symptoms rarely experience, and it matters enormously. What watermelon also does, and this is frequently overlooked, is support vascular health. Lycopene and the amino acid citrulline, both found in watermelon, contribute to nitric oxide production and blood vessel relaxation. This has direct implications for erectile function, pelvic circulation, and the overall hormonal environment of the lower body. Better vascular function means better tissue oxygenation, and better tissue oxygenation is foundational to everything from prostate health to sexual performance. Watermelon is not a dramatic intervention. It is a gentle, cumulative one. But that gentleness is part of its strength. The body responds well to nutritional inputs that are easy to absorb and consistent over time. Make it a daily habit during the warmer months and incorporate lycopene from other sources when watermelon is out of season. The body will register the difference. And now, if watermelon opens the door to lycopene-based healing, the next fruit walks fully through it. Because while men have eaten this particular food their entire lives, very few understand that it contains the highest naturally occurring concentration of prostate protective lycopene in the dietary world. And when prepared in one specific way, its bioavailability increases dramatically, making it one of the most accessible and potent therapeutic foods available to any man over 60. 5. Tomato, the number one food for reducing prostate swelling. It consistently surprises me that the single most researched, most biologically potent prostate protective food in the scientific literature is something sitting on kitchen counters across the country, taken for granted by the vast majority of the men who could benefit most from understanding what it actually does. The tomato is not flashy. It does not carry the exotic appeal of some superfoods or the mystique of herbal supplements imported from distant regions. And yet, when the evidence is examined with rigor and objectivity. The tomato stands above the rest as the most effective natural food for reducing prostate inflammation, protecting prostate cells from damage, and supporting the kind of sustained improvement that makes a real difference in a man's daily life. The reason is lycopene. The tomato contains the highest concentration of bioavailable lycopene of any food in the standard diet. And critically, the bioavailability of that lycopene is dramatically enhanced by heat. When a tomato is cooked, the cell walls that contain lycopene are broken down, releasing the compound in a form that the body can absorb and utilize up to 4 times more effectively than raw tomato. This is one of the rare cases in nutritional science where processing a food actually increases its therapeutic value rather than diminishing it. Add a small amount of healthy fat such as olive oil, and you have created a biological delivery system for one of the most prostate protective nutrients in the natural world. The fat increases lycopene absorption further, since it is a fat-soluble compound. A bowl of tomato soup prepared with olive oil. A spoonful of concentrated tomato paste added to a warm dish. These are not just culinary choices. They are, from a biochemical standpoint, therapeutic acts. I have observed this in men well into their 8th decade of life. One retired gentleman in his early 80s, unwilling to accept the accumulating burden of medication side effects and frustrated by nightly sleep disruption from frequent urination, agreed to one simple modification: a warm bowl of tomato-based soup each morning, prepared in the traditional way he remembered from his earlier years. 2 weeks into this habit, the change he described was not subtle. His urinary flow had improved. His sleep was deeper and less interrupted. And he noted something that I find clinically meaningful and personally moving. The return of morning erections he had assumed were permanently gone. This is what tomatoes, used consistently and correctly, can do. They reduce prostate swelling by delivering lycopene directly to the gland where it is most needed. They improve circulation throughout the pelvis and lower body. They support testosterone metabolism, immune regulation, and the tissue repair processes that rebuild male vitality from the inside out. Tomatoes are also rich in vitamins C and K, potassium, and a range of additional antioxidants that support cardiovascular health and immune function alongside their prostate-specific benefits. The most effective forms are cooked tomatoes prepared with olive oil, tomato paste, marinara sauce, or warm tomato soup. Consistency is the mechanism of change. The body responds to sustained nutritional input, not occasional efforts. Build this food into your daily routine, and you will give your prostate one of the most powerful protective tools available in nature. And now that you understand the individual power of each of these 5 foods, the deeper question is what happens when you use them together. When kiwi, blueberries, pomegranate, watermelon, and tomato all contribute their unique biological actions simultaneously. Because the answer is not simply additive, it is compounding. And in the final portion of this video, I want to leave you with something beyond the science. Conclusion: if you have stayed with me through this entire conversation, I want you to pause for a moment and receive something important. Your body has not given up on you, not even close. Every uncomfortable night, every interrupted sleep, every moment of doubt about your strength or your vitality, those experiences are not evidence of permanent decline. They are biological signals. Signals that your body is asking for specific support, not announcing surrender. What we have covered today is not theory for its own sake. It is practical, evidence-based nutritional science that your prostate has likely been waiting for. Kiwi delivers vitamin C and fiber to calm cellular inflammation at its source. Blueberries provide anthocyanins that protect your prostate cells and support brain and vascular health simultaneously. Pomegranate nourishes prostate tissue with ellagic acid and polyphenols that regulate inflammation and support hormonal balance. Watermelon hydrates deeply and delivers bioavailable lycopene alongside citrulline for improved pelvic circulation. And the tomato, humble, familiar, and consistently underestimated, stands at the top of the evidence base for reducing prostate swelling and restoring the circulation that underpins male vitality. None of these require a prescription. None are difficult to find. None demand a complete lifestyle overhaul to incorporate. And yet, when used with consistency and intention, they create a cumulative biological shift that changes how a man feels in his body, how he sleeps, how he moves, and how he shows up in the moments that matter most to him personally. I have walked this path alongside men at many stages of life and many stages of health. And what I can tell you with confidence, grounded in both the research and the human experience, is that healing does not always begin with a pharmaceutical intervention. Sometimes it begins with a piece of fruit, with a better breakfast, with the decision to believe that your body is still capable of responding to what you give it, and that you are still worth giving it the best. The science is clear. The tools are accessible. The choice now belongs to you. Your next chapter may well begin with your next meal. If this video has given you useful information, a new perspective, or simply the reassurance that you are not alone in what you have been experiencing, I invite you to like it, share it with someone you care about, and leave a comment below. I value every response, and your experience may be exactly what another man needs to hear to begin his own process of recovery. If you would like to support the continued production of honest, rigorous, science-based health content for men, you are welcome to contribute through the link below. Every bit of support makes it possible to reach more men who deserve accurate information and genuine encouragement. Thank you for being here. And thank you for choosing to invest in your health with the same seriousness and commitment you have brought to every other chapter of your life.